they showed last game, BMG, that they are making work happen with that Legionnaire, and they go for the Tempest again. So I can see another greedy jungler being used in this game. Something even like a Solstice or just anything isn't really out of the question. They could even run the Behemoth pulling or the Riftwalker pulling, which we know Root of Z is really famous for playing. So they really can go anywhere now that Sync is so focused on getting that Tempest and getting that AoE.
Oh man, we're gonna see Oogie this game. And one thing I will say about that, while it is true, they have the Moira this time. And I think they wanted to run this draft, a similar draft with Tempest, and they wanted Moira, so now they for sure got that solidified, and it's going to be at least a little more uh, beneficial to them to not have to go against that.
They are facing the Andromeda with that set though, because we know Andromeda is a great counter to Tempest, but is it really going to be enough to counter the damage from Ugi? I don't know, because if someone gets initiated on by a Kraken with that Kraken ultimate, Andrew is going to want to swap them as well. So it's really going to be interesting to see how Fusen is going to prioritize the heroes on his team
Yeah,
and
for sure.
whether he focuses on the Tempest rather than saving his teammates, for example.
Yep, and worth noting that first pick by Fusen was on Meraxis, so in general, we saw him slowly make a comeback after the recent changes to him in that 3.7 original patch, and it seems like he went from being picked sometimes to being picked all the time to now 2 games in a row by pretty serious competitors first picked. So, what do you think that says about Meraxis in the current meta now?
I mean, he's always been a strong hero in terms of being able to just frontline. He's like one of those heroes that acts as a wall for the enemy team to try and get through. But for that to happen, Moraxis really needs to have a good time. And we saw last game then that Mickey really didn't have the greatest time because of the constant pressure from both Legionnaire roaming around a bit and of course being against the Flux. And Moraxis without a PK is really ineffective. I mean, Magnus can still at least have his stun for a bit of mobility. He can do big plays with his ultimate, stuff like that. But Moraxis doesn't have that same freedom of having that mobility.
True that. Well, he is going to be played on the opposing team this time, so let's see if he can have any more of an impact. As well as a Soul Stealer pick. And yeah, Sync banned that hero out in the last matchup. Didn't they? They banned it? I know
Yeah,
somebody
they
banned
did.
it. So maybe they saw in some kind of scrims that BMG's been trying to run it, but I don't see it. I mean, there's a lot of negative armor going on here, but I don't see Soul Stealer being like a perfect fit for this team. What do you think the logic behind that pick is?
I'm not entirely sure right now, but like their last hero now needs to be I don't know, it's difficult. Like I
Flux? I
think
mean,
this game, yeah, Flux is available, but I don't know how they're going to run it. I think Riftwalker might actually be the best option here. That they do the Riftwalker pulling strat, and then the entire draft makes a lot of sense because they have the initiation, they have follow up, but they go for an Armadon. And I'm not sure I like that because he, in the same way as that Moraxis, serves as a wall. So I don't know how it's going to work out, especially seeing that it's Make
huh.
playing it.
True, and he's got that Winston Charmadon avatar. I don't know, man. Ever since the changes to him, I mean, the Armadillo does a ton more damage, spine burst, um, uninterrupted by auto attacks, and just in general, the hero is pretty strong. And the last time we saw him played, I forget what team it was, but it was a very early push
Team disband.
strategy. Disband ran it, so maybe Panny having some input on the draft. Oh wait, no, wait, that's BMG picking it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, not sure about the logic behind it, but we have seen him played successfully, so I'm excited to see him. I think he's a really strong hero.
I mean, last time we saw him played, it was versus Team Who, I think, which I
So
somehow
you were
I
in
don't
that
know.
game.
Yeah, I was in that game, and
Hmm.
you really need to make sure to ignore the Armadon if he's being played as the main carry. But in this game, it does look like he's going to be played as kind of the semi-carry tank role, which I do think he, you know, does a lot better in because if he gets all the farm, he can't carry a game the same way a Soul Stealer can or an Oogie can.
This is true. Yeah, remember he was played multiple times then actually. Too bad we don't have Quincy here for the stats, but I know he specifically was played against Reason because I asked Nair about it, uh, what he thought of Armadon in the competitive scene, and they said they just played a really bad match. But I'm still convinced that Armadon has the potential to be uh, a strong hero in certain drafts and against certain drafts too. But
Yeah, he's very niche.
the sync lineup is very scary to look at. If you look at the Bubbles Kelp field to set it up, then just a ton of other AoE onslaught abilities that are going to be extremely hard to evade. So the Armadon bulking up is one answer to that, and trying to just being able to sustain yourself in team fights, but he'll be
It's
suiciding here.
it's really going to depend on the initiation coming out from Meraxis, and it is wow. They're expecting a man up. They're rotating their lanes, and I gotta say I don't think Armadon does that badly versus the bubbles. He can just spam his spine burst ability, and then bubbles really can't do that much. I mean, you can only take cover one every what is it 6 seconds, and look at this, Make already getting in the harass, making sure to secure that a bit. And Root of Z is going to be played middle, so we have Boxy pulling into the woods with Meraxis.
And once again, it's I mean Make's in a familiar position now, but now Rudizy never plays mid really. Occasionally, but
I
it
mean,
goes to these teams mixing up the drafts and the player positions, trying to throw Sync off. And Sync didn't
they
lane conventionally either. I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, like they have done it before with Krake on
Andromeda
the team.
rotating
Oh,
mid.
Penny.
Panny's getting locked down here. Midas gonna get that elemental warp off to finish the damage, and Panny just not expecting Andromeda, I guess.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of weird. They really should have a ward there, but I guess that's kind of. Did they really need that ward at bottom coming up from Penny? I mean, it seems a bit strange when you have your carry being played middle, and ultimately they paid the price. They lost first blood, and now BMG is already looking to be ahead in almost every lane, I'd say.
So I'm also interested because Panny's subbing for Zlap today, so Instania is practicing his jungle, and what do you think the logic behind that is? Is will they be trying to run Panny in the jungle, and then in that case, who will be supporting on the team if they do try to mix it up? Because I don't think it would be Zlapped, would it?
Um, no, they're not practicing Insania's Woods. I think it's just because of the fact that Penny doesn't play Woods.
Okay.
And Insania has played Woods in the past, and he's not bad at it at all, but I think his supporting is just so much better, and really what they should have focused on. And looking at
Man.
bot lane, look at this, he's just
Oh,
chasing
man.
him down. And mid lane, yeah, you were probably commenting about that.
Yeah, I was trying to watch both at once, but yeah, here Bubbles manning up with that shell surf, but needs to be careful.
Yeah, I think Bubbles might be dead. Nope.
He has that health pushing off, and he's baiting pretty properly because Tempest is rotating there. He's got full mana. He gets the Q stun off. He's gonna try to creep. Oh, he doesn't even body block him here. Oh, does he not need to? The shell surf coming out. They are body blocking armor and put a bit of damage in him here. Could this be the first kill for the Hellborn Legion team?
No. Oh my god, that was so close.
Yeah, one auto attack. He was down at 30 health, something like that. Just goes to show when he channeled that health pot, he got it off for like 1.5 seconds, but it made the difference in the end. But also Insania didn't make any attempt to block off the Armadon. I feel like if he blocked him and those minions got some more hits in.
And yeah, that would have had a bigger effect, but Insania's screwed up right now. He doesn't have any mana to make any more elementals, and I don't know,
right.
man. This seems so weird. He doesn't have any mana pots. He bought blights or anything and
Is he
stuff.
rushing
So
bottle? Yeah, he's got a bottle on the core here.
okay, there we go. Well, I mean, ultimately it's not that bad then, but
It's still slowed him
still,
down a bit, and Tempest really
exactly.
excels at farming fast, so if you're not utilizing that, for sure, I think you're missing out on something. Because he, like you said, he's not an aggressive jungler in terms of being able to shut down another.
And now Make is back at bottom, doing his best to just harass Make out. Even with a mana battery, I'm not sure how much it's gonna help, because he's got like infinite mana with that Ring of the Teacher. He can use it to last it as well. There are 2 more last hits with his Spine Burst. He's doing a great job at screwing up Mika's farm. But now Tempest incoming again, and Moira.
Oh yeah. Bubble's going to shell surf out of there, but Armadon, yeah, definitely in a bit of trouble. Shards of Harkin going to be summoned onto Armadon, locking him down. Now the Mana Sunder, he's not going to get many spines off here. Make will fall. And that was only a... Oh, that was only a Moira illusion, too. I thought that was the real Moira for a second.
That was just a bit too greedy in my opinion. I mean, he went way too far and then just ended up dying because of it. But I almost thought that they were going to rotate Midas into the woods and let Boxy take middle now, but now Boxy's taking top lane instead, and Soulstealer is starting to take stacks out in the woods.
Yep, that
So
works. That works for
yeah,
me.
I'd say they're making so much more use of their woods, even though they don't have a jungler. And that's really ridiculous to see.
Yeah, I think that's something they've perfected, being that team known for not running a jungler. They still know that they'd be at a huge disadvantage if they don't utilize um, the gold,
Yeah,
the resources available to them. That's always something I've admired about them.
yeah. They play it so controlled as well. I mean, their rotations are just on
Armadon
point.
again. He's going to eat 2 stuns off of Tempest here. He does pressure Bubbles in, but he's feeling so ballsy here, but he's putting himself in a really bad position here. Shards of Harkon now going to go out. Actually, Tempest might go down here. Oh no, the Mana Sunder preventing the spines, and Make will fall to Mickey for the
He's just
second
playing
time.
so greedy now.
It is.
Like,
He felt. I think it's because he was dominating the lane so much. You just you get pretty arrogant in your playstyle, but now the Tempest is pretty much not leaving the bottom lane. So
yeah, so well played coming out from Insania. Really, like, it's difficult to do this, but he's had a pretty easy time at it because it's an Armadon. Armadon can't really escape or anything. So he's just making use of the fact that Armadon isn't the greatest suicide hero in that respect.
yeah, and wait for them to prove me wrong, because I was questioning the fact that they put Mickey in solo safe lane. I think Kraken would have done fine down there against Armadon too. And I was thinking that maybe they should swap the lanes up, but now Mickey's 1-0-1, so I guess it's working as intended for them.
Well, Bubble's suicide is not something you really want either because that's way too easy to box out. And I really feel like they made the right choice putting Kraken at top lane because he was against the Soul Stealer. He's a really tanky hero and he has an escape. Look at the farm on Kraken as well. 240 GPM, not too shabby at all. Has his steam boots, has a mana battery, and now he's looking to rotate. Maybe? No. But yeah, so Boxy is closing in on his PK if he wants to skip his steam boots or ghost marchers, but that's usually not the case with the Meraxes.
Double damage Midas taking huge damage from those Bubbles illusions, but Bubbles opting not to dive on him there.
Make is back up to 270 gold per minute somehow, even after dying twice.
Yeah, he's pretty much taken all the creeps the whole time down here at bottom lane, so he's got that going for him, and now he's got an Oogie to deal with as well as Tempest and Moira sitting around the lane here, so still not really too safe for him, and he's finally gonna leave, maybe go stack Ancients or something. I mean, how soon can Armadon take an Ancient stack? Imagine he could take them relatively soon.
Yeah, but I mean they're not stacked either, so that's still going to take at least another 1.5 minutes. And I do agree with you though. He should go start farming these because nobody is making use of the ancients right now. And on the other side, you have Kraken starting to do the same thing. They're both kind of heroes that can just farm woods quite effectively due to their passives, Splash and Armadillo.
Oh, Midas gonna get caught out here. Shards of Harkon activated on the Tempest. Gonna get the stun off, following up with the Q stun. Not feeling confident enough. Insania doesn't have mana for the Void or the Black Hole, but he had a haste rune. If he chased that Midas, it would have been a double tap. But yeah, didn't
Choosing
want to
not
risk
to
it.
risk it,
Yeah,
not risking it to get the biscuit.
the only one with a TP is Soul Stealer though. They would have got away with it for sure.
Mm-hmm. This is a very low farming game, I have to say. The highest GPM in this game is the 340 by both Mickey and Balthazar. It's not every day that you see that when you have a Soul Stealer on the team. Mid lane.
Yep, Kelfield going out onto the Midas here. He's gonna transmute, but oh yeah, he dodged that elemental void. And now
And
TP
now
comes in
instead,
Moira. Oh my god, what was she doing all the way over there? That's not
Oh
necessary
man,
at all.
that was.
Ooh, Meraxis now. Yeah, he's got a portal key and he misses the Quake Stun on the bubbles though. So a lot of resources dedicated over here by BMG.
But definitely worth it in the end because Legion committed just as many resources, only they ended up losing their support. That dodge though on the Elemental Void was pretty insane, coming out from Root of Z.
Yeah.
He was just like, nope, not today. Or rather, a misplay coming out from Insania, because I'm sure he could have ulted earlier.
That is true.
Are you also running the replays like Breaky is
I
usually, or do you not have that available to you?
yeah, I don't I actually don't know how he does that. I've been meaning to ask him so I can set it up.
Yeah, it's definitely
Do you know how it
been pretty cool.
works?
No, I have no idea. I just sit here and talk about the game. That's my job.
I know, well, OBS has the functionality to record, um, but he must like set it up so that he opens it up in VLC and then plays it with a
Mid
replay
lane.
overlay. Okay, that's crazy. I see a Shell Surf coming out and TP's coming in, and Sania's Void on cooldown for a long time though, so I don't know if this is the best place to pick a fight. Andrew's stun gonna go out onto Tempest. This is where Armadon's gonna shine. Andrew was actually melting really quick to the Kraken and burst damage of Oogie, so he'll instantly get melted at the same time. They did pick off Insania. Now Oogie's got to be running. Those spine charges are starting to stack up. Armadon's been in the fight for a while. He got mana sundered, and yeah, Oogie is going to be melted relatively quickly there because he gets collapsed on by 4 heroes. And it
I
goes
mean,
back to what was Saint picking that fight for? Yeah.
I mean, they claim that they do have certain like team fight, but when Elemental Void is on cooldown, you don't want to take a team fight at all. I mean, they didn't even use the Kraken ulti or the Bubbles ulti in that fight, and that really showed. They just got completely massacred and melted, as you said. But now mid lane, they might be in some trouble.
Yeah, here comes Kelfield on a Midas. He's going to eat that mini stun as he breaks the chains, but no, he's going to take a Kraken ultimate. And Rudizy just getting really ballsy there, trying to bait out skills, but he pays for it with his life. Did cost him 2 ultimates, but I don't think that was worth it at all. No.
But they're not really gonna get much out of this sync because Balthazar playing that Soul Stealer, he's able to counter
Alexis.
push waves just so incredibly easily.
He's trying to set something up with this PK here. Rax is getting in position. He will collapse onto Kraken and Bubbles. Switching to Bubbles, activate that Matrax. He's going to die before he gets to take cover off. Now the rest of the Hellborn team joins the party. Soul Stealer is pretty low though, and Legion falls back, and it's turned into mid wars here. I mean, I haven't taken my camera off mid for the past 5 minutes now, and it's just like fight after fight.
Yeah, and the Hellborn are just so much more equipped to do this because the Armadon, because of the Soul Stealer, getting an Energizer, they have vestments on them as well, and then on top of that, they also have the initiation advantage with that PK on the Meraxis. So I do usually agree with Steam Boots before PK, but it's really showing now. They really can't take a fight until they have that Kraken PK or the Bubbles PK.
Yeah, here comes the Shards of Harkon. They're going to try to chase down Soul Stealer, but just a quick, a nice stun by Meraxis. Quake stun. They burst down the Tempest once again. Now, Tsunami Charge is going to put Armadon in the bad position, but not exactly the hero that you want to initiate on. He's going to get a nice swap out by Andromeda, and they still pursue the Armadon. Now, here comes another... was that a Astrolabe? No, it's just the armor. But yeah, Armadon manages to get away as well. As here comes another counter initiation by Meraxis, but the Elemental Void is going to collect all 5 heroes. Kraken's going to get in here, get a couple of splash damage hits off. Meraxis will likely go down here. They get the counter kill onto Moira, and now Oogie's on the run. So somehow Hellborn team is still coming out on top of this. As Soul Stealer Balthazar cleans up, getting a double tap at the end there.
I don't even know how that worked out so well for the Hellborn in the end. I guess it's because they didn't have the ultis. They
They
used them
didn't.
earlier on the Midas, and
Insania
like
bought back there
oh,
too.
man, they're just going in one by one, it seems. And it almost worked out for them with that Great Tempest ultimate, but there's
Yeah.
too much farm on the Soul Stealer. He's just doing so much damage in these team fights. He doesn't even have to ulti.
If they had the Kraken ult, which was almost ready to follow up, I think on that Tempest ult, it might have been enough damage. But there was no damage. The Ogi is like the main burst, and he was out before the Tempest ulti went down.
Yeah, they really shouldn't take fights until they have the Icon as well as the PK on Bubbles and Kraken. But Bubbles, he went a lot of build up. Bottle, Grave Locket, on top of that, a power supply and investment.
Bottom
So
lane, Arcane Vortex onto the Armadon. They really want to get this kill here. They get the stun. They're staggering him well. They're doing the body block. The Shards of Harkon. Yeah, this is a dead Armadon 100%.
unless,
Whoa! Oh my goodness. Release the Kraken comes out. They do get the kill off him, but it takes them a lot more than they want. And maybe they're in a bad position here. Let's see. Now Andromeda's going to fall as well.
I mean, had they had ports on Moraxis and Soul Stealer, they would have been able to turn that fight so easily. But
Yeah.
it was just so unfortunate because that heal coming out from Midas was absolutely huge, but it wasn't enough. And then Andro even swapped the Armadon, but it was too little too late. Like the
Yeah.
Bubbles ulti came out and ended up killing him. Oogie though,
Oh yeah, he's gonna eat a Quake stun here, and Soulshader's nearby with that new portal key pickup. He gets the Soul Burst off, minimal damage, and Oogie's manning up, but he's gonna fall in the end. Tempest nearby, but unable to do it. And yeah, it's
man, it's not often that you see an Oogie being bursted down that easily.
no, definitely not.
And now it's 460 GPM for Balthazar, and he's just skyrocketing. Bottom lane. They're just trading auto attacks a bit.
Man, everybody's hating on my font choice. The overlays, I didn't think it was that important.
Oh man. Chat being chat as usual.
Oh yeah. Alright. Well, this is putting a BMG in quite a good position. Once again, I guess not so much guaranteed, but with the farm and the momentum they have, the late game is looking pretty good for them too.
Yeah, exactly. Like Soul Stealer really can carry a game. And then on top of that, they have an Armadon who can do a bit in the late game, but he's more just annoying, I'd say.
Yep. And the Andromeda is definitely looking strong here too. She picks up a tablet. I thought I saw her buy the full tablet. Oh, I missed a kill there. Where? What? Moira got caught out. Counterboarding.
It's it's gonna be difficult for Sync to get back in this. They do finally have the Kraken PK, but might it just be too late already? I mean, look at the team items coming out from the Hellborn side now. There's an Abyssal just picked up on Armadon. They have
Yep.
the Astrolabe, and then Andromeda is like one of the best team fight heroes to just save the carry.
Yeah.
But okay, being a bit too greedy again. Armadon getting caught out by the Kraken ultimate. But this does mean that they don't have a Kraken ultimate for next fight, so we've seen how that's ended up.
Yeah, but I mean, look at Keizu. He's like, "What do you mean we're losing? I'm 4-0-3. I'm doing fine."
270 GPM, I was suicide. What are you guys doing on the team? But yeah, so BMG is kind of stacking up right now. Not sure why. They should be making more use of their woods
Yeah.
at the moment.
Tempest PK now.
So I mean, they have the jump. But do they really have the damage with this Oogie being only level 11? That's going to be the question, I
I
think.
think against a normal lineup, but Meraxis, Midas, and Armadon, that's another story. Though, then again, Armadon's sitting at 950 HP. It's got a ton of armor, but the health pool is really low, and the way that his spine burst works, I mean,
More
if,
HP, more spine
exactly.
bursts.
Yeah, you would think he'd be getting a little bit more damage items. I mean,
Uh,
HP items. Yeah.
I was really expecting, Helm of the Black Legion instead of the Abyssal, but in the end, if they want a team fight, Abyssal could be a big deal as well.
Yeah.
Look at Foxy just sneaking around in the back.
It does. Soul Stealer still gets the damage. Yeah, the base damage buff from Abyssal, so that'll help him as well. And they have a ton of armor piercing. I mean, Aurora, Soul Stealer, Aura, and the Snotstorm. I mean, they're taking the armor off of any target that gets themselves in the wrong position.
I'm just waiting for the Lex Talionis pickup now from Boxy on the Meraxis. Even more negative armor.
Oh my god. Oh, Quake Stun goes out but connects with Thin Air. They're gonna get the tower and fall back here.
Enough to scare them off, though.
Yeah. That choo-choo whistle. Fear me, says Boxy. as he puts himself in harm's way but walks away out of scratch.
I wonder what Sociedad is going to go next. Because a Shrunken is going to help for a huge amount versus the Ogi, of course, but for the rest of the team, and Bubbles, I guess, but for the rest of the team, Kraken and Tempest, they can still lock him down through it. And Andromeda
Anjo in
being
mid
picked up,
lane. He is
so they
gonna get
immediately
melted.
they may immediately make use of that PK. And
Ooh,
now Armadon.
yeah, Armadon's gonna be caught there, and this gives time for Kraken and Bubbles to come join the party. They both have their portal keys. He puts the gush out onto him. Song of the Sea is gonna slow him down, but a nice Kraken stun into the wall. The tsunami charge bursting him down. Sosa are gonna try to come help, but Hellborn team unable to come in time to assist, and they get another pick off there. And yeah, Make is dying so much, and you wouldn't expect him being on Armadon to be the focus of these ganks, but it's that low HP pool, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely what you were saying about that low HP, and I mean,
Positioning too is just
yeah, he's just super greedy at the moment. Maybe it's due to the last game that he was having such a good time.
Midas. He's gonna dodge the shell surf. He PK's out. Bubbles saw him.
But
The shards are gone.
oh
Oh, they
no,
get him for the elemental warp. Another Song of the Sea and the Mana Center coming out. They're putting a lot of damage. Kraken's gonna blink in with the tsunami charge, and they get the pick off. Nice take cover. Bubbles is gonna try to turn it here on Andromeda. He's got that double damage. He's gonna get the kill. I think he'll pay for it with his life.
I'm not sure he should have stuck around. He did get the Andro kill, but Mickey really has the highest GPM on this Legion side, so that's
They're gonna chase the Oogie down here.
an issue. Oh man, if they find him. Come on, use Spine Burst and then you can see him. There we go. They scouted him out. Is this going to be a dead Oogie? He has no TP.
Yeah, he has no mana. He ran up either.
He's just dead.
Oof.
Man.
And he did finish the icon, but that's not exactly how you use the item.
Yeah, usually you need a kill before it becomes a stronger item, you know? Getting those charges up.
I will say that once he's back up, for once in the game, all of these AoE ultimates are going to be off cooldown at the same time. So if there was ever a time for Sync to pick a fight, I'd say it's now, because they need to shift the momentum in their favor if they want to take it in a Sync style victory.
Yeah.
This is the time for them, because Hellborn teams they're getting too many items now. They did go with the Shrunken. Yep.
Yeah, it makes sense though, because they have a lot of magic. Oogie is the main issue I think of. Moira is going to be scouting out the Conqueror kill, but can they really do anything about it when it's already this low? I think it's too little too late.
It's too late, absolutely.
And in the mid lane,
They will jump onto Midas here. Release the Kraken used on a single target. Andrew's going to swap him right out. So Andrew sacrifices herself. Midas is going to do his best to delay the fight. And now they got the token, so the rest of the Hellborn team should be joining the skirmish here. Andromeda doing her best to buy time. But yeah, Kelpfield used. And they're blowing off these AoE ultimates on single targets. Look, once again, Arcane Vortex onto one target. Soulstealer activating that Shrunken head. They're going to try to collapse onto Kraken. Here comes the Elemental Void connecting on two heroes, but Soulstealer's on the top of the hill just unloading damage onto him, and there's no follow-up. Oogie came in a little bit late. They do get a counter kill onto Midas Meraxis, but the Soul Burst comes out, and they pick off the Oogie. That's a hat trick for Baltazar. Will it be a quad kill?
he did lose the token now, but that only means that
He's
they've
going to
got...
chase.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so close.
Yeah, I was about to say, that only means that they can push now. Full HP Balthazar, he's not going to carry. He's just going to be able to take down that tower really quickly with that 200 damage. And Sync, I don't know.
Oh my word. And yeah,
They should
Baltazar
not have
10
taken
and
that
0.
fight. Yeah. Balthazar's been playing out of his mind.
It's just like they're off, and they are all about a wombo combo. I don't care that you can use your ultimates for pickoffs, but at one point you have to try to synergize your spells, and I think that was what the draft's all about, and they just really haven't connected. We see they're taking fights very split up all over the map, and when you're under leveled, that really works in your favor.
Maka going for the Ice Brand. I really am not sure if I like that, because I've seen a lot of them going for the Frostburn build, but I always make a point of it to mention that you, with the Snotstorm and a Frostwolf Skull, you slow even more because it's a single target spell. So you're pretty much just slowing one person down for almost 50%. It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. It's an overlooked spell, and when you're chasing, it's extremely strong chasing tool.
It's so good versus Oogie as well, because if you manage to, keep Oogie from moving around and keep him in one place with that slow, he's not gonna be able to do as much. That's why Arachna is also considered a pretty good pickup versus these types of heroes like Ravenor and Oogie, and those heroes that really rely on their mobility.
Yeah, try to just kite them basically. But that being said, Andromeda's good counter to Oogie as well then, because if he's bursting down a target and Andrew just sacrifices herself, that yeah, Oogie's gonna kill you in one hit, but that stops the snowballing effect of his primal surge. If he doesn't he shines against a tankier hero like Armadon, I think. But yeah, it just seems like the Hellborn draft is pretty good at countering this Legion side one.
It it's still strange how BMG is acting so scared though. I mean, they've
Yeah,
got advantage. They don't have God vision like us, of course, knowing that they have a 10k lead, but they seem just to be comfortable, and they do have to be a bit afraid of the Oogie, because he does, carry really hard, and that shrunken is only going to dwindle down. The shrunken duration for Soul Stealer, I mean, is just going to dwindle down throughout these fights, and maybe, just maybe, they're able to turn around.
that is true, and I don't know. I mean, it probably is the fact that they don't realize they're up 9,000 gold. I mean, 19 to 16, the game probably looks a lot closer if you're in it. Plus, you may feel like you have momentum, but at the same time, you realize you're going against Sync, and that probably plays a part in it too. It's an intimidating team. They don't want to overextend, and they want to play it safe and make sure they make their way into the finals.
But now BMG realizing that they do have quite an insane lead. Just taking out a tower, and they're
Oh,
making
bottom
sure.
lane.
Oh,
Yeah,
bottom,
Mirax is
yeah.
going to get ulted on by Kraken, and here comes the Elemental Void. He connects on the two heroes with the Kraken all on top of that. They're putting out huge damage, but it is just not enough. Tempest is going to melt quickly here, and this solidifies it. If Oogie's not there, they can initiate, because here comes the Soul Stealer ultimate. No, he canceled it. It
No
doesn't.
need.
Yeah, definitely not necessary. And take a note from them. They're not busting out these AoE ultimates on single targets. It's just not paying off. Like, given that somebody TP'd into the Tempest ultimate, but still, you're picking.
Yeah, like there was not enough of sync there to really contest the TPs. They have such a lead, and I think that just solidifies it all. Like they know now in their mind we have a huge lead. We just took a fight where they managed to get a Kraken ulti and a Tempest ulti on our carry, and they didn't kill him. So
So
man,
true.
they must be feeling really comfortable right now.
Tempest building a
620.
shrunken head.
I mean, it's a nice idea, but they don't. They have an Andromeda.
Yep.
They're just gonna look to counter it with that every single time.
Now the Andro stun does go through shrunken head.
The swap does.
Okay.
So, if anything, he should get a null stun. But that's a lot of gold invested in an item to counter one spell from the
Yeah.
team.
I mean, honestly, I'm quite surprised that Insania even has the farm that he has, because he's been really active this game. He's been trying his best to move around the map and actually set things up. So I know I can't fault him for that, and still sitting at around 300 GPM using a buyback. It's like, what more could he do really? What can the Legion team do at this point to turn things around?
Godhole plus Kraken ultimate on top of it all.
Yeah,
That's what they need to do.
they've landed a few. It's just securing the little damage that they have. They're gonna need every last bit of it to actually end a fight. Because the CCs, the Sables have been on point for some of the fights, but it's just they're not grouping up. I don't know.
Look at top lane; they're all collapsing right now. And Sync knows this. They're just gonna be able to head on out of there and be safe. But yeah, it just feels so awkward to have an Oogie that's only at 350 GPM.
Yeah, and Balthazar over 600. I understand that's the nature of a Soul Stealer, and when a Soul Stealer has a good game, yeah, that's kind of what happens.
But I mean, at the same time though, Oogie has the same effect. He has that Torque wake, he can take out stacks in the woods relatively easy. Even the Ancients he can farm really quickly. And then I don't know, they should be on par, but just due to the
10-0
nature
and
of this
7.
game,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I mean, they're keeping the lanes pressured and they're staying relatively grouped up, Hellborn team that is, and maybe just look for a pick and they are playing extremely aggressive here, so
They're doing a good job though of strangling the Legion team right now. Like, what are they doing for farm? They're only getting the lanes when they're pushed in, and the Hellborn team, they have free reign over the Legion woods. So they're a bit too scared to push uphill right now. But once the next Conqueror goes up, I'm sure that that's going to leave them entirely.
And that Root Disease ward right there, if look at the Kraken. If he roams in the jungle to even just scout out that hard camp, they're likely going to collapse on him. Really aggressive vision coming out from BMG, and maybe they just wait for Kongor. They don't force anything here. Pushing into 4 massive AoE ultimates is not exactly the easiest thing to
No,
do.
they're gonna have to still pull off a miracle though, being 13k gold behind.
Now Armadon's starting to get a little bit more health. Working his way towards that Frostwolf skull. A Geometer's Bane picked up by Soul Stealer, so just further going to increase their sieging capabilities, I suppose. And
I
can he
guess you
just join a kelp field with it, or
no,
no?
it stays on you. But the Shrunken Head already fixes that problem, so that's not the biggest issue. And yeah, I just wanted to say he should be going for a Wingbow next, getting more of that auto attack damage and survivability. But
He sells it for
he
Assassin
goes for
Shroud.
a Shroud because he's gonna do the thing where he gets a Genjuro, then splits it up for a Wingbow and a Shroud, most likely.
I completely disagree with that. Assassin Shroud is completely useless in this game.
Yeah, there's so much AoE coming out from the Legion side. It does give him a bit more mobility, but other than that, like, I really would prefer the Wingbow, straight up. And there's the Frostwolf Skull.
I mean, any type of serious encounter that they're going to have is going to be in the Legion base right now. So, you could say that PKN, you can shroud out. It's like
Oh
a
no,
multi-purpose
Soul
tool.
Stealer. The Shroud doing work right now. And Tempest.
Could have done the same with a PK.
Except that they don't see you casting it.
True.
And now Balthazar though.
Oh, but his shrunken head, yeah, he activated it early. So, he never even got it off.
The Hellflower coming out from Bubbles fixed that
Oof.
problem, and he stayed a bit too long, but he had no knowledge of the fact that Bubbles and Kraken were veiled rotting into the woods to try and find him. Bottom lane though.
Yeah, I'm watching this unfold here. Midas got an Invis rune. He's just setting up.
Yeah, ultimately not gonna go for it though.
Meraxis, Andromeda kind of were coming, rotating over in the air. Oh, the Revelation Ward, once again. This is going to be the second time Rudy Z got spotted out. Oh, and a huge PK. Fanny Burton's 2 Ward Revs trying to catch him here. Was it last game that they...
No, it was this game
It
as
was
well.
this game as well, over by the Ancients, yeah.
This game is just... It's being incredibly slow right now, and I
Yeah.
completely understand why, but now the Congo's up, come on, let's go take it, get your souls up on the Soul Stealer, and then go win the game.
Yeah,
Bottom lane.
I think Sync needs to, when their ults are off cooldown, they need to try setting up. Shards of Heartland going to activate, slow down the Midas. There's a Shell Surf coming out. They get the Bubbles, Hellflower off in the Song of the Sea, but Midas is getting his mana back. He's got that Storm Spirit, so he's actually going to be able to buy plenty of time here if he needs to. Puts it off on a Bubbles. PK's out, but here comes Kraken. He's going to Tsunami Charge Andromeda into the trees. Collapse on Midas, though, buying more time. They get the pick off on a Midas and Andromeda. And Sync getting 2 pickoffs without burning all of their cooldowns yet. So this is a good start for them. And they might transition, take bot tower objective out of it. It's sitting at like 5% health here, so I
Yeah,
hope they
that's...
get it.
I mean, what is Hellborn doing right now? They're playing so carefully, and I know it's difficult playing against the Shrunken from Insania, but man, they have such a huge lead, man.
So they get a little bit of objectives there, and the gold lead is slowly tilting back towards even. I mean, they got a long way to go,
Yeah,
um,
they're gonna need to have a lot more pickoffs than this. Balthus, what is it? Flensmeister making sure to take some ancients from the Hellborn side, but he's still only at 390 GPM. And then you have the Soul Stealer. Even after that death, still 620.
I wonder if a little of it has to do with Insignia's usually making the play calls here, and having to focus on playing a jungle role, it's might be throwing them off a little bit because I feel like they're not coordinating when they have their cooldowns very well. Like even after they got those two pickoffs, they still had huge cooldowns, and they might have roamed the map for the remaining three heroes, and they chose not to. That's,
Yeah, for sure. It feels like something's off with them. Let's just say that. Something feels off about how they're playing with the whole let's use our giant AoE ultimate on a single target.
a lot of teams. I mean, people are speculating that they're not taking the tournament very seriously, but that would be a mistake to not take the last few chances you have to get a competitive game in right before a major LAN event. The teams that are trying and building momentum with these wins, I think it's going to benefit them huge going into DreamHack.
Yeah, like BMG has been doing incredibly well this tournament because they're just like, we need to start doing something again. We need to start winning because after during the DBL they really didn't look that strong, and even
Yeah,
during the DreamHack qualifiers,
absolutely. They
something
struggled.
was off. But now they're looking really good again. They
True,
did.
and mixing up the roles and still having a relative success. So, yeah, BMG is definitely looking good. Let's see if they can close this one out. They definitely, yeah, they're playing extremely cautiously, and do you think you'd want to wrap it up now? You got the token, you went the Genjuro. They have the core items that they need. There's nothing else really substantial going to be coming out. Midas nowhere near a sheep stick. I mean, Mirax just got like 2,200 gold and a blessed orb saved up, but I'm not sure what that's going to be.
It might just be the sheep stick as well.
Yeah,
I think that that's going to be the case. But in the meantime, looking at that Oogie, he also almost has a sheep stick, and once he has that, Soulstealer's going to have a difficult time activating a Shrunken with both the Hellflower and the Cold Mist. Probably can be used on him.
I hope it doesn't bite him in the ass because this Genjuro, it's not going to bring much to the table. I mean, it's a little bit of damage from the agility and it stacks with the Geobane, but it's nothing compared to the effect of a wing bow. And just for the range and the damage that brings, the evasion not too useful against this Legion team really, but
Yeah, that's what I was looking at as well. I mean, everyone always auto attacks, of course, in team fights, so there's that idea, but it's just not the heaviest damaging auto attacks. So on that note, it's not really that useful.
just for the range, I mean, that's going to be useful because he could stand outside of a Tempest ult and just lay on him and
Yeah,
just rely on safer positioning. But yeah, they are going to finally siege here with the token. No vision uphill just yet, so they're going to have to be careful of the jump. Maybe they're going to try to bait something out into the Soul Stealer, being that he has the token.
he is doing good damage to the tower,
Yeah, he is.
even without that many creeps being there, but now the sheep stick is picked up on Flensmeister, and they might look to initiate because of that. But, you know, we have a Miraxis waiting for him. Oogie still doesn't have a Shrunken, so this really could be an issue.
Here comes the Geobane. If they don't disperse those illusions quick, here comes the Tempest. Gonna drop the Earth, but a nice Miraculous initiation on a Tempest. They lock him down a little bit before he can get the shrunken head off. And at the same time, Kraken jumps in, and huge damage going out onto Soul Stealer and Miraxis, but he can't get his ultimate off. He's trying to channel it. It comes off, connects on pretty much nobody, and he dies to just the tower damage. So Legion team doing a good job there of not overcommitting. They get to bait out the token and a couple spells, and that's going to be enough to scare BMG back. Nobody dies.
Yeah, that was a really weird fight coming out from Balthazar. I mean, he chose to use the Shrunken before token was out, and it didn't really do anything. And
Yeah.
then also the idea that he used Geos to push the wave instead of using it to maybe even get rid of a Tempest stun or just be a bit more defensive with it. I mean, he could have honestly just auto-attacked it himself without ever really forcing anything, so to speak.
Yeah, it's super unfortunate. But even if I want to say, like, if they killed the Tempest and they overcommitted to that fight, Insanity was ready to buy back Void with a Shrunken. So it almost might be a good thing because that could have been a huge turn for Sync. I feel like they a little bit baited that out and they were anticipating the jump on Tempest. So.
Yeah. Well,
So
we'll see how it's gonna work out. They're going back to just being a bit more casual, just keeping on farming. Let's look at Armadon again. He's got a Soul's Bulwark now, as well as an Abyssal, as well as the Frostwolf Skull. But he really hasn't done much recently because he hasn't really been dying a lot. Because that's what we've seen him do this game.
yeah, it's really close here, and I'm not sure. I think delaying only hurts BMG right now because, like I said, there's not too many more items that are going to make a massive difference by them, but all this time they're buying is going to give Legion Team the time to finish the Sheepstick on Flens, finish the Sheepstick on Bubbles. Those core items that are completely missing from Sync right now. Once those come out, it's going to be a lot harder. They already failed the Siege with the token already, so what do they think is going to happen if they wait another 10 minutes?
Yeah, in the end, the Legion team has the superior team fight. It's really going to end up being about how they use those ultimates. Because earlier in the game, they weren't using them to their full effect, and recently they've been a lot more cautious with it. But they're still 12k gold behind and 12k experience as well. So it might not make the
Yeah,
biggest
it
difference.
totally doesn't feel like it though. I'll say that much.
Yeah, that's true.
It feels like the game is dead even, and I don't know.
Soul
Baltazar,
Stealer could pick up the Wingbow right now by
that's what I'm
spinning up
wondering.
the
What he's gonna
Shroud.
grab.
I think he wants a buyback, but in that case, I think he should buy an item because you don't really want to fight with 3.4k gold saved up.
I feel like we're gonna see like a Whispering Helm come out or something. But with the duration on his Shrunken being so low, well, it's 7 seconds, but it's only gonna get lower. His right click presence isn't even gonna be like that viable.
Yeah, I would like to see him pick up the evasion part soon because it does make a difference, even if it's small. Hmm. But yeah, as you were saying, Bubbles is just getting closer and closer to that sheep stick, and then, I mean, Kraken picked up his own Shrunken, which is really nice because the Hellborn team, the main physical presence that they have is coming out from the Armadon and the Soul Stealer. Oh man,
I'm Penny gonna be scouting out down here. He's gonna get the Arcane Vortex. Shards of Heartguide and the Mana Sunder onto Midas. The rest of the team is collapsing. Here comes Kraken. Release the Kraken channeled already before it pops, and they get the kickoff onto Midas. So he gets the Storm Spirit off. But yeah, the damage is pretty much done. He's gonna fall here. And nice job by Panny using that Ephemeral Forge across the map and set up that kill onto Midas.
yeah, the only thing that hero needs is a PK, and he's absolutely a terror to deal with because there's not much you can do about that Mana Sunder.
Yeah.
Even at level 2, it does so much work.
Or the Shards of Heartgun, or the Arcane Vortex for that matter. Every
Yeah,
single one of his spells have huge impact late game. And early game, just all game. It's just it's a terror, like you said. That's the perfect word. It's a terror to play against Moira.
the one way you really have to deal with Moira is that every single time that that illusion is up, just kill it as quickly as possible. Because if you
Yeah.
don't, you're gonna have a bad time. You're gonna have a bad time. But man, they're playing so cautious, and I mean, I understand you said as well versus Sync and everything,
Well,
but
it's
come
what are they
on.
waiting for is the thing.
Yeah,
It's not like okay guys, let's delay for 5 minutes so I can finish X item. They've had what they've needed. Their team fight's not gonna get any stronger. It's only gonna get weaker as more shrunken heads come out on the Legion side and more CC items. So I understand they're gonna wait for the token, but if they get that token and they can't siege with it there, then
then they're gonna be in a bad spot.
yeah, then it's gonna be. I think that we're gonna see the game shift very quickly because Legion team's playing
Bubbles,
so patient. Sync is playing patient, and
and now there's 5k gold on Soul Stealer, 2.6k gold on Armadon, 3k 2.6 on Midas, sorry, and 3k on Armadon. And then on the other side, we have Flensmeister with 3.3k. Like, they all are pooling so much gold because they're just so scared of dying.
here goes
Panny
something. Veiled
initiative.
Rot activated onto Armadon, but the Moira illusion instantly canceled it, or he canceled it. Something canceled it, so that was short-lived. Double
Yeah, I think
damage on Meraxis. Yeah.
Panny's doing a great job this game. I wouldn't say that he looks like he's playing as a ringer because he's 4, 5, and 9, and he's doing a great job constantly scouting with the Ephemeral Forge.
Yeah, and he's got the money. It's gone so far. He's Connor warding everywhere. You can see he's given so much vision to his team. They've taken back their jungle, and they're setting up. He's setting up pickoffs. Definitely a huge improvement from last game. Um,
Yep. Look at this Invis Moraxis though. Oh man, he
with
was
a
so
DD
close to
too.
scouting
He's got
out.
DD up for 15 seconds.
Oh, is he gonna scout out the Tempest? No, he's gonna go for the bubbles instead.
Oh, oh, but release Kraken and the Elemental Void on Meraxis, but he is tanky as hell. And here comes Soul Stealer. Oh, the Arcane Vortex. They are all gonna split up, and that Soul Stealer ult's not gonna do anything. I don't think. He's trying to channel it. Yeah, Bubbles take cover. Tempest had a shrunken head. Completely blew it, wasted. Now they're going to lose Meraxis, and Soul Stealer's going to fall as well. What is he thinking? Why? He spent so
Where?
much time channeling that ultimate, and it did nothing. There was
It
not
did
even people near him, and even if they were right on top of him, the take cover auto cast, well, or just perfectly timed, I don't know.
he PK'd into a Kraken ulti originally,
Oh
which was
my god.
the original reason why he wasn't able to get it off. But the Hellboy team, they're just not responding. They're just like, oh, we're team fighting in top lane. I'm gonna keep farming with the Armadon with 3.6k gold, and then we have the Midas with 3.9k gold. He was nowhere to be found.
And
So like,
Meraxis, he saw the Tempest before he jumped onto Bubbles, right? Like,
well, for a split second, I'd
oh
say
yeah?
it wasn't the biggest window of opportunity, but he should have definitely been more aware of his surroundings and scouted out a bit. I mean, he had the invis. Why risk it?
And this, not to mention this whole time, they were avoiding fighting as a team when they collectively had a 12,000 gold lead advantage. It's not like all that gold's on Boxy, and he's not even the most farmed or second or third on his team. So they spent all this time waiting the Congo, or Congo comes up, and now you're dead.
Yeah, and so what are they going to do with the Tempest? 5k gold. Do you think he's going to go for that Nullstone, or do you think he'd rather go for something a bit more
I think,
team fight oriented, like a sheepstick?
honestly, I mean, I'm a big fan of the Restoration Stone on Tempest. That double ultimate, and once you have enough money for a buyback too, especially if you go in ultimate, knowing that BMG has to siege the base, it's all about your defense. I mean, he could go either way, but I'd like to see a Resto Stone, but not until he has enough money for buyback. So maybe buy like half of it.
Yeah, for sure. Resto Stone is going to be a big deal this game, but at the same time, if one ultimate gets cancelled by the Andromeda, the Resto Stone feels kind of strange in that way because you get another ultimate off, but at the same time, imagine you have a sheep stick and you just manage to get a pick off with that, for example, or the Soul Stealer. If you can
Yeah.
swap out a Tempest to stop his ultimate, of course, but then a sheep stick you could just lock down Soul Stealer regardless of what happens to your own hero.
Either way, I definitely think whatever he needs to buy, he needs to secure the buyback goal because that's the most important thing right now. As the Haldemorn team, they're able to pick off Kongor knowing that the Void is still on cooldown perhaps for a little bit, so yeah,
Is he able to afford the Resto Stone right now? Yes, he is.
he does. Yeah. I think it's 5,200, and but he won't have a buyback, and I think the key lies in being able to ultimate if you die Resto Stone and then you have that other ultimate, they may not suspect it, you know what I mean? But rarely do you see somebody pull up 7k gold, so it's definitely a tough choice. Will he do that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the entire gold deficit, pretty much. They're, but at the same time, though, Balthazar running around with 6.4k gold.
I mean, it's not like they have a lack of CC and they desperately need the sheepstick because Bubbles has one, Oogie has one. They've got a Hellflower as well, and a
And a Kraken.
Moira, and a
Yeah.
Kraken. So he could get anything. Honestly, I mean, he could just beef up.
Frostfield Plate on Oogie, maybe?
Yeah, he did. He bought it and then sold it. Oh,
Yeah,
or
he wants to pick it up.
he was probably checking to see if he had enough buyback gold after a purchase. Maybe Satanic um, on Soul Stealer.
Just
So,
insta buy. Oh man, I don't know if I like that. He has the token and
I think
everything,
they're
but
going all in here. Is the thing.
yeah.
Heart
Now a
on
heart
Midas.
Midas.
He bought the recipe earlier and he sold it. I don't know if he was trolling, but it looks like he's gonna commit to it. Resto Stone on Tempest. I don't like it. I don't like him picking it up without the buyback, but
It's all or nothing right now.
yeah, both teams kind of committing to all or nothing right now. This is going to be the deciding factor. Hellborn team's got bananas and the token. He sold. What did he sell to make room for that
It's in the
symbol?
courier. The shrunken head, or did he sell? No, he didn't sell it.
He didn't sell it.
I think yeah, he gave it to Meraxis to hold on to.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So during the fight, he can give it after the token goes out, if they manage to have that type of communication.
Bubbles Shrunken Head. Wow.
Yeah, but I mean, look at his damage as well. He's really looking to semi-carry this as well, and
You're right.
Bubbles is
He
definitely one of
is.
those heroes who can do that. I wonder if he's even going to go for something like maybe even a shield breaker or a savage. These types of items we've seen before. Even a Harken's blade could work. The armor is quite intense coming out from this Hellborn side. So like 35 armor on Soulstealer when he's next to the Armadon.
Yeah.
So
That is
Harken's
pretty
blade is not out of the
substantial.
question. And I mean, Oogie could do the same. Because he does regen health then for every auto attack he uses.
Alright, this is it. And them choosing to siege bottom when they actually already put a ton of damage on the top seems pretty questionable. I guess they're just going with whatever lane's pushed here, and Kraken's going to TP back here.
That Geo's again. Like, look how much damage he's taking before they've even gotten the creeps.
Yeah. It's...
This Hellborn team is, I mean, this Legion team is just so good at defending the base.
They are for sure. That was a huge push, but also at the same time, I mean, Hellborn team is this the best option to siege? Why not go to top? It's or kind of you got a bunch of PKs, you know. I don't
He's
know.
also he also just used the symbol of rage. He's like, we need to push this. So I guess he has that combination. If they do bring him that low, he can just regen up a bit.
I
But
don't like the fact that he doesn't have a shrunken. How is he going to be able to get off the damage? And he is the only damage for this Hellborn team. They're going to initiate Sheepstick onto Concealer. He's going to get bursted down. A nice Midas stun to follow up, but here comes the big Elemental Void collapsing on 4 heroes. Hammer Swap is going to get off, but he activates that. Oh, the token's kill going to go down. Soul Steal, the Kraken ultimate. This is a mishmash of craziness. Bubbles in the background, getting a quad kill. And there he is in that semi-carry roll, just unloading. And they may have waited too long. Did
the god
Tempest...
hole.
Oof.
He got cancelled and immediately restoed and PK'd back in, and everything just melted on the Hellborn side.
See,
The
I
fact that he
lost
didn't
sight
have
of
a
him.
shrunken, like, why didn't he get rid of the PK? Why would he risk going into that fight without a shrunken? A PK doesn't help you fight, but a
Yeah.
shrunken does.
That's the thing. Soul Stealer was just, there was nothing he could do there. I mean, Make on Armadon didn't even get to use the bananas. They're still in his inventory.
Like, at this point, Keizu, pick up, after that demonic, pick up a resto. It's gonna be so powerful. It's unbelievable.
Wait, on who?
On Kraken.
Oh yeah?
Restoration Stone would do a lot of work this game.
I don't know if it's even going to go that far. I mean, there's buybacks available on Boxe and Make, but they're not worried that Sync's not forcing the issue or sieging here. So I guess the only good thing about BMG losing that fight is that they did it in the Legion base. So they don't lose any objectives here, but they've been trying to siege for the better part of 15, 16 minutes now. Nothing's changed except the gold advantage shifting completely into Sync's favor now. And the experience advantage as well. So this goes along the lines of getting an advantage and then feeding it away.
Yeah, like, this was just a throw. This was a complete throw.
We saw, I mean, you mentioned it as early as 30 minutes. They had the momentum, and then they just got really passive. Sync took their time. They waited. They didn't feel any pressure, and they got a pick here or there. Typically on a Midas, it seemed like was eating a lot of pickoffs. But
Now they are going to go, though, with the Legion team not having their ultimates up.
once again, now they're going to go to the mid tower, which has no damage. I don't
Yeah.
understand it. The tower, it's harder to siege against this. Bubble's going to come in with a Shell Surf, forcing out the Shrunken Head by Soul Stealer. Armadon's going to eat that Sheep Stick, going to get Storm Spirit off. It's going to buy a little bit of time. Bubble's initiation comes in here. They're going to lock him down. Frostfield play now. Oogie's in there doing so much damage. Release Kraken coming out in the background on the Soul Stealer. He's going to get Tsunami Charge back into the tower. He falls. Mirax is instantly melted. I can't see BMG staying in this game any longer. They call the concede vote in Sync Esports. coming through in game two to push us into a game three. Wow, what do you think about this?
Like that was really well played by Sync in the end, especially by Insania getting those ultimates off and Keizu making sure to wait with his ultimate till he could see the Soul Stealer. But at the same time, like BMG, that was just a throw coming out from you guys. That was that was really strange. Like also the fact that Midas picked up a heart instead of a sheepstick or a hellflower or something like that, and then the initiation was just not in their favor.
Yeah, and I
It
mean,
was just oh man.
absolutely. And even go back to when they had that huge advantage, seemed to be around the time that Soul Stealer decided to pick up the Assassin Shroud. So definitely, I'd say questionable item choices and just uh, finishing the game. They never really committed to it. So crazy,
Yeah.
but we will see a game three. So either one of these teams could be making it into the finals for sure. Anything else left to put in here before we go to a quick break?
Great patience coming out from Sync. They played so controlled, and it was absolutely incredible to see. They went from a complete gold deficit of 13k, and then they just held on to it. They made sure that it didn't get out of hand, and then just ended up finishing the game with the team fights.
Well said. All right, Short Can, we're going to take a quick break here. Guys, stay tuned for match three coming up, the DreamHack Summer Warm Up Event Finals.